Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Beyond Hashtag 10 October podcast. My name is Dulubelihle Otrivas Tulela, and I am the host. Today, I am being joined by Annet, and she will be sharing her experience as a neurodivergent individual. Hi, Annet, and welcome to the episode.
Hello, Audrey. I am so excited for this episode. And thank you so much for having me join you for this podcast. It's such an honor and privilege to be here today.
Thank you, Anette. It's such an honor to actually have you make time to actually be part of this episode. And I'm very excited that you'll be sharing your experience, like yourself. You know, it's actually different having someone else tell your story. So, one of the most exciting reasons why I'm really, really, really happy about having you on board is that you'll be telling us your story yourself. So, yeah,
Yeah.
without wasting any more time, let's just get into it. Can you please introduce yourself for our listeners?
My name is Annet Kavata. I am a first year medical student at the Aga Khan University in Nairobi, Kenya. And yeah, I love to do things with neuroscience, especially studies to do with neurodiversity. And that's why today I am here to share with you my experience on ADHD.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Annette. But before we get into your actual experience as a neurodivergent individual, I think it would be wise to actually have you explain to us what actually ADHD is in your own words.
Basically, ADHD, in my own words, is like having many tabs open in your brain. It's like the way you usually open many tabs in your laptop and you find your laptop lagging. So, in my own terms, ADHD is like having 84 tabs open in your brain and you find it difficult to now focus because now you have many things in your brain that is distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's quite interesting. I think especially for people who actually do not know what it is. That's a very practical example. I think it actually gives people an idea of how you actually experience it. So moving forward, I would really want to know, and I know most listeners would also want to know, how you actually found out that you're experiencing ADHD. I know it's something that's probably not as easy to explain, but I feel like it's important to just try to highlight how you actually found out that this is what you're actually experiencing.
Okay, so I know I just described ADHD in my own terms, but basically ADHD in full is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is it's a neurodevelopment condition that affects how the brain regulates attention, emotions, and even time. So I just noticed how I discovered I had ADHD is when I realized like something was off because I really struggled a lot with finishing my work. I will start something, I will start a task, but then I would divert and do something different. Like it was a pattern that was continuous. And for me, I thought at first it was procrastination, but then I was just joking around with my friend the other day and I was telling her my experience, and she just laughed and said, "Girl, do you have ADHD?" So I didn't like that was my first time to hear ADHD. I have never heard the word ADHD before. So I'm the kind of person who, when I get to hear new terms, I go and search it up. So I went and Googled what ADHD was, and it just gave me a few characteristic of the kind of person who has ADHD. And I found myself relating a lot to it, you know, like the forgetfulness, the emotion intensity, procrastination, oversharing. Like I always feel like I'm either doing too much or nothing at all. So I saw it's a condition and I thought it was high time to maybe reach out to a professional to talk about this. So I reached
Mhm.
out to a psychiatrist who talked to me about it, how it manifests differently to people. And I was given a test to do. And I actually found out I have like a combined type of ADHD. And for me, it actually made a lot of sense. So, because I actually don't struggle with focus alone, because there's the inattentive type and then the
Mm-hmm.
hyper focus one. So I have the combined type because I struggle with focus, I struggle with impulsivity, emotional ups and down, and I always feel constantly over stimulated. So when I found out it was emotional, but honestly speaking, it was such a relief because now I found a language for what I've been feeling all along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what my follow-up question was going to be? I was going to ask, like, how did it really feel like when you found out? And now that you've touched on it, I'm just happy that you did, because I'm just wondering, from the time you started talking to your friend and from the time you also spoke to a psychiatrist, I can just imagine myself how that was really.
Yeah. It was very exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but with time, I got to adjust and I got to accept myself the way I am. Like, this is who I am. But yeah, so I came up with like ways on how to cope with it. So I usually use planners or to-do list because you can get easily distracted when you have ADHD and you find it hard to complete tasks. So I usually have a to-do list. That is if
Mm-hmm.
I can remember where I put them, because sometimes you're even forgetful where you put the to-do list. So I use a to-do list. I also body double. So body double basically means you have someone to keep you accountable. So when I usually read or when I am having something that I want to do or I want to do my tasks, I have my friend who keeps me accountable. And it actually helps because when I'm alone, I'll be easily distracted. And
Mm-hmm.
I also use Pomodoro method. Pomodoro technique is basically, I think you've heard it before, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically a very good study technique where you study for a short span and give yourself a break, because I find myself struggling a lot with concentration for a long time span. So just giving yourself a short break after a short time span of studying actually helps. And also practicing self-kindness. I just remind myself that I'm not broken and my brain just works differently. Yeah.
I think that is amazing. Sometimes when you're an individual and you face the situations where you're going through stuff and you're trying to learn how to cope, it can
Mm,
be exhausting, like you said, and stressful and all of the above. But I'm just happy that you've been patient with yourself. It's very important to practice self compassion. Yes, I think that's the term towards
mm,
yourself. Yes, when you're actually trying to cope with something, you're also trying to learn about it at the same time. So I really want to applaud you for that, and I am just hoping that with other individuals rather who are facing similar circumstances, this episode will just serve as an encouragement to them. Whatever the situation, I'm just happy that you've managed to build that confidence, that self-love within you. And yeah, that is quite commendable. So through adjusting and trying to find ways to navigate life, as a neurodivergent individual, do you
mhm.
sometimes feel misunderstood by others? And if that's the case, how do you navigate all of that?
Yes, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People usually see the symptoms, but not the struggle. I've been called many times by my friends and my own family, like, you're careless, you're too emotional, you're not serious about things. And that has really affected my relationships, even with people I love. And
Mm-hmm.
it's usually very painful when someone assumes you don't care, when in reality your brain is just overwhelmed with disconnected information So I've learned to navigate it by being more open about my diagnosis. So after discovering I have ADHD, I tell people openly, you know what, guys, I have ADHD, and I also explain to them what it looks like in real life. And
Mm-hmm.
I also surround myself with people who try to understand instead of judge. Like I went and told my friend who told me about ADHD, you know what? I actually found out I have ADHD, and she has been helping me to just cope with it. And yeah, and also reminding myself that being misunderstood doesn't make my experience less valid. And I just write, I usually do a reflection. So I just write my emotions and how I feel after the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that is, I'm so excited just listening to you speak positively about your experience. It just gets me excited because, like I said, most of the time it's just easy to, to just give up altogether and just think, since I'm not wired like everyone else, like my experience is just so different that I can't relate with anyone. It's over for me. It's just easy to have all those negative thoughts. But with you, I'm just seeing you are a very optimistic person. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just so excited to hear all these good things coming from your experience. So yeah, you did mention that you have your friend who assists you through it all, which is very good. I mean, I'm just wondering how other people experience this like without proper support systems. It's kind of hard also, and
Yeah.
which makes me also think about our African community. When it comes to situations like this, experiences like this, I just feel like there is more awareness. I could be wrong, but I just want to find out from your experience, do you think we still need more awareness? I'm just saying this broadly because I think a lot of people don't really know what ADHD is. So I'm just assuming that, there should be more awareness. But since I haven't like experienced it just as you have. I just want to know, do you feel like more should be done or the efforts on the ground are enough? Like what is there on the ground? What is happening in your experience, of course?
Um, Thank you for that question. I think it's very important for us to talk a lot. I mean, to talk more about ADHD because many people don't actually realize they have ADHD. ADHD is usually confused with procrastination. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's high time we start educating people about this, especially in Africa where mental health is still so stigmatized. Even
Mm,
if I had a conversation with my parents about this when I was young, I know they would just tell me, you just have your own problem. We need to
mm-hmm.
talk about ADHD beyond the stereotype of the hyper boy who can't still sit. And we need to highlight how it shows up in adults, in women, in high achieving students who are silently struggling.
Mm,
And I was just doing a research and I found people with ADHD are 5 times more likely to attempt suicide. And
yes.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
linked to that's serious, and it's linked to things like anxiety, depression, and even nocturnal enuresis, which is basically bedwetting. And this is something I personally struggled with as a child and even part of my teen years. And
Mm-hmm.
these are not things we talk about enough.
Mm,
I was also listening to a podcast the other day on the same topic on ADHD, and the speaker was just saying that ADHD is a serious problem that people don't actually realize. But when you grow up, like it affects you in many ways in your relationship. It can even lead you to bankruptcy because of the impulsivity. So it's actually a topic that we really need to talk a lot about and just sensitize people about it. So, awareness means training teachers, employers, and health workers to recognize and support people with ADHD, and even making diagnosis and therapy more accessible, especially in low resource areas where
mm-hmm.
people actually have these mental health resources. Um, and even just creating safe spaces for people to speak up without shame.
Yes.
and even sharing real stories like the way we are doing here, because hearing someone else's journey can be the first step towards someone finally understanding their own.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and this is why I'm speaking up, because ADHD isn't a flaw per se. It's a different way of being, and with the right support, it can be a powerful part of who we are.
For sure, for sure. That is so powerful. And I'm just going to be saying this again and again. I'm actually happy that you are telling your own story, like in your own words. Like no one is doing it for you. The people who are going to be listening to this are going to be hearing it from you. And to our listeners, the reason why Annet is here today is because of a LinkedIn post. So, yes, I'm actually happy that you agreed to actually come and share what you shared on LinkedIn, because at first I was just skeptical and thinking about the whole thing. Would you be really comfortable having all that information you shared with the world on LinkedIn being reduced to a podcast episode? And when you said yes, I was actually like, okay, this is it. So I know for sure there is someone out there who will definitely benefit from your experience, from you sharing your story on this platform. And yeah, I have so many words, but like yeah, I'm
Yeah,
very,
for
very
sure.
excited to put this, yes, to put this episode out there. And yeah, is there anything you'd like to, say to encourage the youth out there who might be experiencing any type of mental health disorder and who are like struggling to get help, to reach out to other people because of fear and the stigma which is associated with mental health disorders?
Yeah, so for the people who are actually struggling with the mental health issues out there, or something that they're just struggling with, I think the first step is to reach out to someone and just talk about it. Just the way I reached out to my friend. I wouldn't have known there's something like ADHD even existing. So if you just reach out to someone that you feel comfortable talking to, and even seeking help. I know people are usually scared of reaching out to psychiatrists or psychologists. It's very important to reach out, because there are many things we actually don't know about ourselves. So when you seek help, you will definitely get help. So yeah, and also be gentle with yourself and practice self-kindness. Your brain is just wired differently. So yeah, be gentle with yourself and love yourself.
For sure. Thank you so much, Annette. I wish we had more time to actually talk about this, but I feel like we've captured all the important points. Hey,
Yeah,
unless there's anything else you want to share with others.
not really. I'm really grateful to actually have shared my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know it would impact someone out there and they would understand themselves more.
Mm-hmm. For
Yeah.
sure. That is very important. So yeah, we have come to the end of this episode, and I hope we can invite you in future to share more
Uh,
nuggets with us.
I'll be really grateful to join you again.
Right? I had so much fun listening to your experience, and I'm actually positive that this will help, because sometimes you just need one person who's just going to talk about their experience, and then the next thing we have more people talking, and then that's when we get to have actual action on the ground, because that's what I care more about. Having a podcast is one part, but actually having action on the ground to actually make these conversations comfortable for people, that
Mhm.
is what matters. Yes. So thank you so much, Annette, and yeah, all the best in your studies going forward.
Thank you so much, Audrey.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.